Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about SPCE, Virgin Galactic. Let's dive into what caught my eye about it. We'll also look at kind of the recent trend and valuation. They beat earnings yesterday, which was solid news. But let's take a closer dive into it and see if it's a good investment at this point in time. So where this really started was on our social sentiment dashboard. This is what I typically like to use to keep track of trending tickers, trending stocks. It really gives me kind of a market overview. And what popped up really yesterday, as you can see in this significant spike, is the earnings release for Virgin Galactic. You can see kind of leading up to earnings release, just after market close, we started to see an increase in people tweeting and talking about Virgin Galactic. It was likely probably a mixed kind of reception and view. We'll see what people were saying. Okay. Looks like just quickly browsing through the thread from yesterday, kind of mixed, maybe more bearish sentiment in general. But we'll dive into this a little bit more. Let's see what some of the main accounts were saying. So in terms of the actual earnings release, and this is why I like to use this tool, is because it gives me a real-time feed of what people are talking about. Okay, so a little bit of revenue. EPS, they had a beat, which is solid news and probably why we saw the price spike a little bit today. Let's see what the other people are saying. Okay, this guy's saying there might be a dump. High short interest. Might be a chance for a squeeze with a catalyst. So again, like I was saying, a bit of a mixed sentiment in across Twitter talking about space, or I should say Virgin Galactic. Why don't we jump into the stock itself? So if you guys have been following Virgin Galactic, which I have for it feels like almost 2 years now, if you remember early on, kind of February, say mid to late February 2021, had the huge run up, then the drop back down, and then in the summer, another big run up, kind of the end of June, early July. Since then, it's dropped off significantly, but that's to be expected with most stocks, or should I say to be expected, but that's what we've seen with most stocks in the market over the last kind of half a year or so, which hasn't been great. My portfolio's been hurting because of it, but what I'm doing is looking forward to see what the next investment opportunities are, and which is why, again, I'm taking another look at Virgin Galactic. Just zooming in a little bit more, looks like they've found support around the $8 mark. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, seems to be holding well at the $8 mark, which I think is a good indication that this will be really the support line moving forward, and will likely bounce off of here. Let's just highlight a few other things about Virgin Galactic. So, as I mentioned, they beat earnings. The estimated was 0.34, actual 0.31, with a beat of 8%. If we look at Wall Street analysts, what they're saying, overall recommendation is a buy. You can see it's a little bit mixed in terms of buy and sell, but it's interesting seeing, again, kind of overall, it looks like a general consensus of a buy for Virgin Galactic. I'm just going to jump over to an interesting post someone had, and that is talking about just Virgin Galactic in general. So this person, and I won't run through the whole thing, but just highlight some of the key aspects. This person's talking about the recent news, as well as the talk around Stocktwits, Reddit, Twitter, kind of the big following that we're seeing from retail investors, which, to be honest, I think is a huge aspect to have in this day and age with particular stocks. If you guys remember, if you've been following it, so they opened their tickets to public sale, and this was about 2 weeks ago, or I should say about a week ago, which is good to see. It sounded like they had a lot of people signing up, and obviously it jumped on that news. It's fallen back down a little bit again to kind of like that $8 support line, but this is kind of a good sign that we're starting to see them capture revenue. Let's see, they talk about Virgin Galactic on Stocktwits. So if you guys are familiar with Stocktwits, kind of a mixed discussion forum, we'll put it that way. But, you know, a useful proxy in terms of tracking trending stocks and trending tickers. It seems to be a fairly sizable forum, which is good. It means it gets a lot of attention. A lot of people are following it. Reddit, obviously, you know, with Wall Street Bets, kind of had its heyday, and it's died off since then. But again, an interesting kind of proxy in terms of what people are talking about with regards to Virgin Galactic, finding kind of updated news and due diligence. Let's see. Okay, so this is interesting. There's someone who mentioned a price target of $50 for Virgin Galactic. I'll have to check and see when this position was shared. That seems a bit high, to be honest, but you know, not necessarily unreasonable if it's got a chance to work its way back up. So why don't we take a look. So, okay, it gives a bit of a company overview, and I'll link these write-ups in the section below, so jump into them, take a bit of time, read through it. Again, useful to have from a context perspective, as well as putting together your own thoughts and analysis of whether you should invest in Virgin Galactic. Let's see, talks about financial performance, the good, the bad. You know, that's always nice to see. You know, when I look at stocks to invest in, I like to have both perspectives. I want to know, you know, what are the good things about the company, what are the bad things, just so I'm aware of everything that's going on before making an investment decision. Okay, talks a little bit about their strategy, commercial program for human spaceflight, fleet of rockets, lowering costs. Yeah, that all makes sense. Management team. What's interesting is I find this quite important, especially with newer companies. Having a strong management team really helps set the company in the right direction. With the experience that they've had from the past, as well as kind of their track record, typically a good, strong management team can lead a company in the right direction and weather kind of the storm. So it's always something I like to look at. From the sounds of it, they have a pretty solid team. So let's see. President, 20 years of experience in aerospace, CEO, former chief of staff at NASA, 40 years of engineering experience with Lockheed Martin. So these are some big players in the in the industry, in the space industry, which is good to see. Okay, let's see. It talks a little bit about the competitors. Let's see what they have here. Boeing is a competitor. I don't know. You could argue probably not. Lockheed Martin, maybe. These other two companies, it depends, right? Virgin Galactic is primarily, you know, personal and commercial spaceflight. So if these guys are providing it, then yes. But it seems to be the case that Virgin Galactic is kind of in its own little realm. Okay, so this person also did a fairly detailed investment valuation, looking at some comparables. Average comp, I guess by using those competitors, $26 a share. I think that makes sense. Let's talk about risks. Share dilution. You know, that's always a risk, especially with newer companies. But it's good to be aware of. 2020 very poor. You know, again, as a growing company, early stage, they're going to be burning cash, and the focus isn't on revenue. But that is something that they seem to have addressed with the recent release of people being able to buy tickets. Okay, so that was an interesting write-up. I encourage you to read it. Like I said, I'll link it below. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, one final one. Stock, left the stock, but is it a buy? Okay, so this person's talking about it being a popular Stocktwits stock, which I think is fair. Like we saw a little bit earlier on, it has a significant following. Okay, Q4 earnings report, short squeeze. You know, those are sometimes factors. The market cap is quite high. Let's just double check what it is for Virgin Galactic. Yeah, market cap of 2 billion. Short squeeze with that kind of market cap and shares outstanding. Maybe something to consider. Okay, let's see the argument here. It's fine. Okay, it talks about shareholder dilution. That's right. So had a successful spaceflight, and then they issued more shares to raise more capital. Again, that's kind of sucks to see as a shareholder, but in the long run, if that's what helps them grow, you know, having access to $500 million, then that's what they need to do. So this person's saying, okay, shorter buy puts. I'll have to read this in a bit more detail, but my initial instinct is, you know, as I mentioned, that $8 level seems to be kind of the support we're seeing for Virgin Galactic. And, you know, at a $2 billion market cap, they're starting to get revenue from sales of tickets. I think they're in a decent spot right now, to be honest. So, again, I'd take a look, consider the bearish, the bullish views, do your own analysis, dive in, see if it makes sense to add to your portfolio.